Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Grow Food SA. This episode we're going to talk about, since we're getting into spring here, also known as mulberry season, we're going to talk a little bit about pruning tomato plants and pruning pepper plants so that you can get more production out of them. So, enjoy. So here we have a tomato plant, and this one actually naturally kind of forms more of a bush, but only certain parts of the branches produce the tomato. So the way that we kind of work with that is we want to eliminate the plants that are just going to be a lot of the foliage. We want to leave the ones that are going to be more of the productive tomato part. And so whenever we're looking at this tomato plant, it's been growing for a couple of weeks here, and throughout its growing process you want to kind of come in and keep on checking on them, and you want to try to look for this. So right here where it splits, you can see this little branch coming out of the center here. These we want to prune back, so you can basically take them, they're delicate enough with your fingers, and snap them off. Those are going to be just foliage kind of plant leaves, and that leaves a lot more for the production of these. That'll allow hopefully more tomatoes on it. The other kind of interesting thing about this is you can notice some of these hairs that are on the tomato plant. So these are all like really unique to this kind of plant. They're potential root systems. So you can see them all here. So what you want to look for is these hairs, basically. Whenever the tomato plant, maybe in its wild habitat, what used to be this kind of ground cherry kind of thing, it would fall onto the ground like this, be in contact with the soil, find that moisture, and start to form new root systems out of there. So it would be able to tap into multiple water supplies, more nutrients, and things like that. And that's how it kind of adapted to learn to survive. So one thing to kind of keep in mind is that you can use those hairs to that advantage. Whenever you're planting your tomato, you can actually plant it deeper than you typically would with the soil of the container or that it was growing in. So by that I mean, like, you could dig a pretty deep hole, and as long as the tomato plant is maybe sticking out of the ground that much, you can bury a lot of that, take off the stems, the leafy stems, and just leave the one stalk going up, and fill that up with soil. And that soil embraced around this will allow all those hairs to become root systems. So now your root system is a lot lower and a lot more diverse in depth and direction and things like that. So it'll survive a lot better. So yeah, utilize those hairs. One last thing that can be done with those kind of hairs and that kind of thinking that it can form its root systems is, say I needed to prune back this branch right here. Say I didn't want it for some reason, you know, maybe it was getting growing out in the wrong direction. I can snip that, and I can put this in water. That'll activate those hairs again to start forming roots, and it'll create another plant. And then I can take that plant, plant it in the ground, and hopefully get another tomato plant. Whenever the roots have kind of developed enough within the water, then you can kind of plant it. You're looking for the roots to be maybe kind of going around in the container, maybe a couple inches long, and as many of them as you can kind of grow. Changing out the water frequently kind of helps them from rotting, and the organic material in there making the water go foul. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about how to maximize some of the ability of some of the pepper plants. Basically, it's kind of allowing them to bush out more instead of continuing to grow up straight. So this one you can already kind of see it's starting to split, and that's what we're going to try to encourage today. So right now it's sending all of its energy up into these top things. It's sending a signal up here that's telling it to grow out of the top right here. what we want it to do is we want it to sprout out of these little ones right here that are attached to the base of each leaf. We want those to start growing so that it'll bush out more. One way that we can do that is if we have maybe 4 to 6 leaves below, then we can go in and top that. So what's probably going to happen is it's still going to send some signals out to this one, but we'll watch it and we'll see if we can get some of these other ones to grow out, and you'll have a lot larger of a pepper plant and more production out of that.